Hello, I'm Amy. I'm a drama therapist. Welcome to my channel, Play It Through. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to my channel and ring the bell to get notifications of other videos. In this video, I'm going to talk to others who are doing online therapy at the moment about how to use the green screen for different creative approaches within therapy. So firstly, a little word on my setup. What I have is a room where I've got a washing line and I'm hanging a piece of green fabric behind me, and I also have two lights, one on either side, and if I turn them off you can see the difference that makes. Sometimes it works to have the window for natural light and then have one light on, but as it gets darker I actually prefer to have two lights on. It just makes it a bit more balanced, but there is that little moment where Zoom has to adjust the brightness. Find a way that works for you. These are lights that I had for my camera anyway, but lamps will sometimes work. You can also get little round ones that sometimes attach to web cameras that will light up your face. Different things work. What I've found with this setup is that it only works if there is natural light coming in. Because even if I have my overhead light on, at night when it's dark, the background doesn't light up enough and you start to get weird interference. Okay guys, so it's now evening. I've still got my floodlights on, I've still got my overhead light on, so I've got a bit of backlight, but these are much stronger lights than that. And you can see that now that the sun is lower in the sky and I'm getting less light through the window, there are some glitches going on back here with my green screen. So the little that goes on. The darker it gets outside, the bigger this problem gets. So eventually that will sort of creep in until I'm in sort of a little window and there's things coming all around. This isn't a huge problem for me. I know how I could fix that. So part of the problem of that is to do with lights. So I've got my strong lights pointing at me so that I'm fully lit. I could potentially reposition that so I had one of those lights on me, and one of them was just looking at the backlight. What you tend to then get is a few facial shadows and things like that. But I could prioritize in that way. Equally, I could buy another light and just shine that on the back. This isn't such a big deal for me because most of the clients I'm seeing who are using virtual background are daytime clients. So this, as annoying as it is, isn't actually stopping me from doing most of the things that I want to do. If it does happen, then you could even just include it in and be like, oh, the darkness is creeping in, and actually look at what it's doing with my fingers as well. What is this? Everything's an opportunity, even the stuff that goes wrong, so just play with it. So let me turn off my virtual background so you can see what's actually going on in my room right now. So this is no virtual background, this is the green screen that I'm using. So as I said, here is the washing line, just off the top of the screen here. And what I found is that to get a screen big enough was really quite tricky, because for some talk therapists, if they wanted to do this, I guess, although why they'd need to do this I'm not entirely sure, but you could potentially bring the screen a lot closer and you could have a smaller area that needed to be covered. But for my purposes, I was really aware that sometimes I sit like this and talk to my clients this way, and sometimes I get up like this and there's more movement and there's more, I want people to be able to see what's going on with my body, I want to be able to see what's going on with theirs. It's drama therapy, it's concerned with the body and movement, so having that option is important. So I was looking at fabric, and mostly it's sold by the roll, so it's at most 1.5 meters tall, and then you buy by the length. And for me, I was like, that's not quite gonna cut it, it's gonna be a bit restricted. So what I did is I bought a king-size duvet, and that was almost big enough. I was slightly restricted in the edges. So what I then did is unpicked it. So I've got the full width of it and double the length. So you can actually see that this here is like spare fabric that I could extend even further, but you know, I'm restricted by how big the screen is and how big my room is. So I don't need all of it anymore, but it is now big enough for what I do need it for. So I've now got a solid green background and I've not ironed it or anything. I guess I could, but actually I found that I don't need to do that because Zoom can recognize that that is enough green and can do the rest. Incidentally, I also have these pillowcases, which I'm going to show you later because there's some really fun stuff that comes with them. So that's my setup. Let's go into Zoom and look at the settings in there. So head over to the bottom left in a Zoom meeting and you've got a little microphone icon with an up arrow and a little video icon and an up arrow again next to that. That's the up arrow you want to click. Choose that and select Choose Virtual Background. Now already there are 5 here that you can choose from, so I'm going to show you those. This is San Francisco. So you've got this bridge background, this grass, which I quite like. I quite like the fact that this grass makes me feel really small, like I'm an ant or some kind of insect. This one of Earth with stars and you can be like floating in space. Now these next 2 are moving backgrounds. So this is the Northern Lights and you've got the sort of aura going on behind you. I've used this one for some of the sort of more relaxing meditation type things. So imagine that you are just you with the lights above you. And you can see the way that it's shimmering and changing. And then imagine that that light is shining on your toes. And that it then starts to move up your body. So it's shining on your legs. And then the last one that they give you is this beach. So let's have a play with this for a second. If I get up in this one, you can imagine if you have this on as your background that you are here at this beach, so you can kick the waves and give them a good splash. You can go for a paddle. You can like touch the leaves of the trees and imagine what that might feel like. So there's different ways of playing out with if you were actually here, what would you do? Where would you want to be? And all of these virtual landscapes can start to introduce those little stories of imagine this place and let's pretend we are here. What kind of character are you going to be? Who's going to be here with you? You can start to think about all of these different things. So those are the 5 backgrounds that Zoom gives you as like your starter pack. But the world is your oyster. It is really, really easy to find pictures that you can use as Zoom backgrounds. And there's so many out there. Tons of them are royalty free and you can just use them. Here, this is a recreation of some kind of Disney type landscape. So if you were working with the idea of fairy tales or stories, if you were going to look at some kind of ritual or looking for true meaning, connecting with higher powers or ancestral lineage or any of those kinds of things, this kind of landscape might be a setting that you could do that with. A trance like we are going and you're running forward and you keep on running through the star tunnel. When will you come out? What will be on the other side? So this could also be an alternative to that. So I'm now in the Milky Way and everything is swooping around me. And where are we going to go? Where are we going to end up? What planet will we land on? What will that look like? How will it be? And again, I'm doing like a swimming motion now. Maybe that's what you do. Maybe you also moonwalk because it's like in space. Maybe you've got that floating feeling and can you find ways to make it seem like you are anti-gravity? Again, all playing with the body, playing with movement, playing with different sensations, imagining where you are, where you're going to be. Let's talk about this background here with these lions. So at the moment I am chilling with these lions in this savannah that we're in here. And how is that? Am I one of the lions? Or Am I hiding from the lions? I don't want them to see me. Will they eat me? And if you're hiding, maybe you hide with the background as well. So I mentioned earlier that there is a fold in the material. And I mentioned earlier that I had pillowcases. So there are ways of disappearing that only part of you is showing. I have a tiger, which I got from a jumble sale. Top tip, I love jumble sales. Go check them out, you find the best stuff. So actually, maybe I want to use costume to become one of the animals in this scene. And then maybe it's safer. Maybe it's safer to be in a pride of lions if you're a tiger. And I'm not expecting you all to have a tiger costume. I wasn't expecting to have a tiger costume. That was an unexpected magic find. But you'll have things that you have of your own. So what resources do you usually use in drama therapy? How can you use them? And go and look for backgrounds that will allow you to be in those kinds of landscapes and take that to the next level. It's possible to share the picture with the other person, so you could both have the same background at the same time. Obviously, the client probably won't have the full green screen setup, so their background might flicker, or it might just be on the door and not the wall, or vice versa. This one I really like. So this one is walking through the trees and seeing the boat, and then watching the boat sail off to wherever it's going. And again, all the imagination of coming out of the forest and seeing the ocean opening up and seeing nature flying around and seeing the movement of the boat. All the imagery about sailing away into the sunset and new chances, opportunities, places you could go. There's also something very peaceful about this landscape of nature and connection and potential opportunities, movement. I've got some of these abstract ones, which I quite like for like all of the thoughts or voices buzzing around your head and how busy everything is and all these things that you've got to do, and can you just push some of them away, and is there any space for you? So maybe for this one, this yellow circle over here is the voice that says you're not good enough. You'll never be good enough. Everything you do is not good enough. Maybe this blue one down here is going, oh, just give up and go back to bed. But maybe there's like a tiny little green hope up here that goes, keep going, you're worth it. And it keeps jumping around, so that one's hard to hold on to. Where does it go? Like, oh, come back, little green one. I want to hold you. Can I keep you a bit longer? Can I get some of that hope and bring it closer to me? Or how does it feel then if I move? So if I say, actually, I'm not going to listen to you, blue voice. I'm going to turn my back on you. I'm not listening, blue voice. I don't need to know what you think about me just having to give up. And actually, maybe then I want to go closer to this green voice. So I want to actually be over here, and I want to become the green voice saying, I am good enough. I am good enough. This one I quite like if I'm also sharing music. Here's another thing you can do that's quite cool. So I've got my green screen. I've also got my pillowcase, and for one of my pillowcases, I've been unpicking again, and I've made this hole in the end. So I've now got a green sleeve, waterfall landscape. So you can already see that I've got like a floating hand. So there's some quite cool stuff you could do there in terms of like having this creature hand thing that comes in, which, you know, I quite like that. And it's like, yes, it's not attached to me. It moves on its own. But other possibilities are things like puppets or toys or any kind of, whoa! So suddenly you've got this character. Obviously, ventriloquism is still a problem. So right now we've got the waterfall. So this guy could be like running around and like coming down the waterfalls maybe. Way! Splash! I've got my floating through space background. And I've got my floating, look, no hands, my hands both here. How is she doing that? So here what I've done is I've got a tripod for a camera and covered it with a pillowcase. And she is just sitting on the top there. So then she carries on doing that, and I can like do whatever I want around her and like, what, how are you? And as long as I don't like show off that there's a thing, so as long as I keep high, oh, not quite, then she is just flying. She's just flying on her own. She's magic. Pop it again. This time, pop it on a extension pole. So my arm's gonna go away again. But now I've got me, I've got my friend here, and I've got my friend all the way over there who I couldn't possibly reach. And we're all doing stuff together. And again, you could use longer poles, you could play around with other stuff, so fishing poles or whatever you've got. Just stuff can happen. Meter long rulers, yardsticks, whatever you want. Okay, this one's a bit weird, but bear with me. Here what I've done is I've reversed stuff. So I've put up a background which is the opposite of a plain green background. It's a busy red background, and I've put on a green shirt. So now I've selected a virtual background which is like a zebra skin, and so as I move around, I myself become the background because it picks up that my clothes are the green screen. I've also got the leopard. So then I have all this leopard skin that I can move around in. And it doesn't quite work completely because, you know, the spots, you move in and out of the spots. They don't like follow your body contours or anything. And Zoom doesn't really like this. It's not set up for it. So you might see like weird glitchy things going on with my eye and my hair as it tries to work out what's going on. So you've got to like bear with it because it's not perfect, but I still think it's quite cool and quite fun to play around with what happens when you invert and you become what it is that's being projected onto. Oh, well, I hope you've had fun learning some of the cool tips that I've shared for how to do drama therapy with a green screen. Oh, hey Turtle! So please let me know in the comments if you've got any other cool tricks that I should know about, because I would love to hear some of the things that you're getting up to and how you're using this technology. I'll see you next time. Bye!